Five Nights at Freddy's has a ton of characters, some which are super iconic, and some that are pretty irrelevant. So in this video, I'm going to pick the most and least iconic character from each Five Nights at Freddy's game. This list will be based on how well known the character is, and how much of an impact they leave on the game they are featured in. Also, I won't include the spin-off games for convenience's sake. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The original Five Nights at Freddy's game is definitely the most iconic game in the franchise, and as such there are 5 super iconic characters here to choose from. However, if I had to pick the most iconic out of all of them, it would have to be Bonnie. Originally I was going to pick Freddy since he is the namesake of the series after all, but honestly I feel that Bonnie is the more iconic overall. I have a few reasons for this. Number 1, from real world interactions with my friends and family, Bonnie's image was surprisingly more recognizable to the FNAF image than Freddy, if only slightly. Secondly, I think everyone remembers Bonnie more from FNAF 1 due to the fact that he is the first character in the game who attacks us. He's also quite easily seen as both the scariest and one of the fan favorites, with only Foxy rivaling that role. Bonnie really shines in his element in this game, and although he may not be the namesake of the series, he's for sure the most iconic character in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Now for the least iconic in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, this is no question at all. You'd be forgiven for forgetting that the Endo in the backstage room is actually an official character. Now this character isn't really a bad one, it's just that he isn't really a character compared to the main 4 and Golden Freddy. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Keep sleeping, Endo. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 may not be my favourite game, but I won't deny that in terms of character designs, this game shines as one of the strongest and perhaps even the strongest. The withered animatronics are definitely up there as the most iconic characters in all of Five Nights at Freddy's, and out of all of them, I would actually say that Withered Freddy is the most iconic. Originally, I was going to pick Withered Bonnie for this role, however, when I really thought about it and looked at the impact of the two characters, Withered Freddy ended up being the more iconic character in my eyes. For one, a ton of fan games, and even the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 box art features Withered Freddy, making him a very iconic image right off the bat. Not to mention that his design was used as the basis for the Joy of Creation animatronics, which are super iconic. But the biggest reason is that Withered Freddy is literally the face of the Five Nights at Freddy's merch. With that considered, I just had to put Withered Freddy here. If you think it should have been Withered Bonnie, leave a comment saying justice for Withered Bonnie and subscribe. Once again, like Five Nights at Freddy's 1, Endo 2 is the least iconic, simply because there isn't really a character here. He shows up in 2 cameras as an Easter egg, however unlike Shadow Freddy or Shadow Bonnie, he's just not as impactful. Hell, even the paper powers left more of an impact for God's sake. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 introduced the most iconic character in all of Five Nights at Freddy's, period. It's Springtrap. I don't know what else to say what hasn't already been said before. Springtrap is easily the most iconic character in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Not just because of how terrifying and impactful on the story he is, but because he is quite literally the only true character in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. So I'll move on since we all know why he's in this spot. Now all the phantoms in this game could be considered iconic in their own right, and all the Easter egg characters are definitely iconic. So I'm going to probably pick my least favourite or the least popular character of the group, and I believe that would be Phantom Mangle. While on paper, Phantom Mangle has a unique attack compared to the other phantoms, taking away your audio rather than your ventilation, it's not really something that makes them stand out, especially considering it's easy to miss them being in the game at all if you're not paying attention. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 has a quite unique batch of animatronics for the Nightmare animatronics. However, like Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I think picking the most iconic is pretty easy. Nightmare Fredbear is easily the most iconic FNAF 4 character for a few reasons. For starters, there's this iconic moment.
Hey guys, I think the little man said he wants to give Fredbear a big kiss. Was that the bite of 87?
But on top of that, I think his appearance on Night 5 is just definitely a moment everyone remembers. What's more is that he easily has the strongest design out of everyone in this game. He's the character that most people associate with this game in my opinion, and he's just one of the scariest FNAF characters ever made. Now for picking the least iconic, it was kinda tricky, but I decided to pick Nightmare Freddy. The reason for this is that he just isn't apparent in the game. Even Plushtrap has more of a presence than Nightmare Freddy. What's more is that his design is pretty weak in contrast to everyone else, but regardless, he stands out as the least iconic character in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Sister Location is another game like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 where I don't like the game, but the character designs are super iconic and a strong suit. For the most iconic, this is quite easy. Circus Baby is the most unique and the most iconic of the Sister Location characters without a doubt. She's practically the face of this game, and she is definitely one of the more important figures in Five Nights at Freddy's. Her unique humanoid design is definitely one of the features that helped with her popularity, as well as being the first character with voice acting, well, besides FNAF Wob. Overall, she is still one of the most popular and iconic characters in Sister Location. For Sister Location's characters, picking the least iconic was kinda tricky, but in the end, I went with Electrobad since they are just a worse version of Bidybab. Pizza Sim has a large amount of characters, and if I'm being completely honest, all of them could contend for the number 1 spot. However, the winner in my mind is clear. It's number 1 Crate. Not only is the most iconic FNAF character of all time, he's probably the best character ever conceived. If number 1 Crate was real, he would win the election. Now for the least iconic, I'm gonna go with the Lemonade Clown since I feel like out of all the characters, he is the least popular, and honestly the Fruit Punch Clown just outdoes him every single time. So yeah, big rip. Now Ultimate Custom Night has a lot of characters to pick from, and a lot of them could be the contender for the top spot. But if I had to pick just one, I would choose Mr. Hippo. The reason I picked Mr. Hippo is due to his death monologues, which are just super iconic and probably the most well-known part of the game. Plus, he's a cool looking character even though in the past I may have said otherwise. Alright, so this may be a controversial pick, but I'm picking Withered Bonnie for the least iconic. Mainly because I think in my time playing Ultimate Custom Night, I have only seen him once, and his mechanic just isn't interesting at all. For Help Wanted, I feel like there's only one character that will fit this role, and that's Glitchtrap. Dreadbear nearly made this spot, but let's be real, this character is both more well known and way more important to FNAF overall. Not much else to say. For least iconic, I'm going with Shadow Mangle, and that's because I had no idea this character existed until I saw the U2's figure. Security Breach is an iconic game for all the wrong reasons, but easily the most iconic part of the entire game is Glamrock Freddy. I mean, 95% of the memes are from him, and he's literally the face of the game, even if it was meant to be Vanny. His voice lines, his goofiness, his smile, and his glitches, they all work together to create a massive package for players to enjoy. Even people who don't enjoy Security Breach like Freddy and think he's cool as. Plus, this Freddy is probably the most well known outside of Haunted Freddy's, besides maybe the Withered Freddy variant. But yeah, this guy is just great. Now for the least iconic, I had to go with the Mini Music Man, specifically because he's both the least memed character and just because the character has the least presence in Security Breach. Now, as much as I don't want to admit it, the Mimic is super iconic. 1, his concept is super original, even if it sucks, and 2, well, this.
What are you?
Now for least iconic, I'm gonna go with the Mini Music Man for the same reasons as before, so we shall move on. Help Wanted 2 doesn't have a lot of characters for me to choose from, but if I had to pick the most iconic, I would just pick the Mystic Hippo, since it's the only character I even know from this game. For the least iconic, considering I don't even know any characters, I'm just going to pick my least favourite and a character that I honestly don't even remember being in the game, and that's the Mini Arenas. The newest Five Nights at Freddy's game to be released has an easy pick for the most iconic, Pit Bonnie. I mean, the entire game revolves around him, so yeah, I kind of had to pick him. For the least iconic, I don't know, the Carrot. Done. There we are, the completed list. If you disagree with my choices, let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video at any point, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.